He rose from humble beginnings to become one of the busiest actors in show business. With his British charm, he played everything from romantic leads to tough guys and never failed to deliver. While at times accused of wasting his talents in unworthy films, he silenced his critics with a string of outstanding award-winning performances. He is the one and only Michael Caine. He was born Maurice Joseph Micklewhite on March 14, 1933 in London, England. Raised poor, Caine caught the acting bug after serving time in the British Army. Knowing Maurice Micklewhite would never fill movie houses, he changed his name, taking Caine from a marquee advertising the 1954 film The Caine Mutiny. The renamed actor started slowly in the British film industry, making his debut in the 1956 comedy Panic in the Parlor. The role was a mere bit part, and Caine continued to appear briefly in other British productions, such as How to Murder a Rich Uncle and The Two-Headed Spy. In 1964, things took a better turn when Caine was introduced to audiences in Zulu. Set in 1879, the historical adventure followed heavily outnumbered British troops as they battle hordes of Zulu tribesmen.
What is it now? Another blasted trick?
They're forming up on the South Plain again, sir.
I knew it. I knew it! They're going to attack both walls at once.
I doubt it. Not unless they have no other choice anyhow. It would mean the old general couldn't use his rifles on the hillside for fear of hitting down into his own men. This way he keeps probing for weaknesses on the one wall while he keeps the other one pinned down.
Ah, yes.
Stalwart actors Stanley Baker and Jack Hawkins starred, but it was young Michael as a brash, blue-blooded lieutenant who got most of the attention. Suddenly in demand, Caine took on the leading role in The Ipcress File, a spy movie shot at the height of the James Bond craze. Based on the best-selling novel by Len Dayton, Caine starred as Harry Palmer, a very unlikely hero. Wearing glasses and behaving quite un-Bondian, the character was a coldly efficient agent trying to stop a deadly brainwashing plot.
You will forget all about the Ipcress file.
The film was a stylish smash, and Michael Caine, after 10 years of hard work, became a star overnight.
You're working for Ross. He sent you here.
Don't be silly. I'm working for Dolby.
Get your knee off the steering wheel.
I can't, I'm stuck.
Here, look out, I'll do it.
Oh!
Well, you all settled in? Right, we can begin.
My name is...
Alfie!
In 1966, Caine starred as Alfie, a bachelor in swinging London who leaves a string of broken hearts in his wake.
What are you so impatient about? I'll just get you ready for your injection, Mr. Elkins.
Oh, thank you, nurse.
The film picked up 5 Academy Award nominations, including one for Best Picture and one for Best Actor, Caine. The star returned to the spy game in 1967 for another Harry Palmer adventure entitled $1 Billion Brain.
You saw him Ipcress in London, almost buried in Berlin.
Where are you going now? Helsinki.
Now, Harry goes to Helsinki. Temperature, ice cold. Prospects, red hot. Mission, destroy the brain before the brain destroys the world.
This one involved our hero in a complex plot that had a supercomputer trying to overthrow communism.
What does it do? Tell fortunes? It makes fortunes. Ours.
Carl Malden and Ed Begley also starred in this, the final big screen appearance of Harry Palmer. Ken Russell directed, and in this exclusive behind-the-scenes footage, we can see that star Michael did indeed suffer for his art. That same year found the star trapped in The Magus, a screen adaptation of John Fowles' book. Caine played a teacher who comes to a Greek island and finds himself at the mercy of wealthy Anthony Quinn.
I am not playing at make-believe. Swear to me that if the number is 1, you will take the pill.
While the novel was a hallucinatory masterpiece, the film was simply a confusing, though well-photographed, mess.
You have 1 death on your conscience. I have 80.
The wooden acting of Candice Bergen as the girl who captures Cain's heart only made things worse. Woody Allen was once asked what he would do differently if he could live his life over again. His answer was, "I wouldn't have seen the Magus." Audiences agreed, and the film disappeared quickly from theaters. His career stalled. Caine took a role in the all-star film Battle of Britain, about the British attempt to stop a Nazi invasion during World War II. Outstanding aerial action helped bring the tale to life. Caine next starred alongside Omar Sharif in the 17th century adventure The Last Valley.
There is no just war. Millions are dead and more will die. Your leaders are bigots, because the Pope wars on the Catholic Emperor. Your generals are bandits who wars on the Catholic King of France. You employ any mercenary you can get who wars on the Catholic King of Spain. And the Pope who plays politics, helped by 100 other princes, kings, bishops, all for their own rotten purposes. All sides are rotten, except for people like you. Religious fanatics who incite murder for the sake of a God they have never known. Don't you understand? There is no God!
James Clavell, who would later find fame as the author of Shogun, wrote, produced, and directed this interesting but ultimately ponderous film. Michael was in military garb again for director Robert Aldrich's Too Late the Hero. Caine and Cliff Robertson were 2 soldiers fighting the enemy and each other on a mission that might prove suicidal.
Getting ourselves killed isn't going to make any difference to anybody, except us.
All I want is to get out of here.
That's exactly what we're going to do.
The film was Aldrich's much-anticipated follow-up to The Dirty Dozen, but it proved a box office disappointment. As the 1970s began, Caine was finally released from cinematic military duty.
When a professional killer violates the code, he's got to pay. The word went out, get Carter.
Back in civilian clothes, he was a cold-blooded killer in the unforgettable Get Carter. Michael played a career criminal in London who returns home to unravel the secrets behind his brother's death. Directed and written by Mike Hodges, this cult classic painted a bleak picture of the underworld and provided its star with one of his finest roles. In 1971, Caine took on The Classics, starring in a screen version of Robert Louis Stevenson's Kidnapped.
Am I not a body fight?
The actor received warm reviews for the rousing film, which served as a break from the grim roles he had been playing.
Come on, baby.
You got what you wanted, didn't you? Well, I was drunk and out of my senses. Last night didn't mean a thing.
Oh, yes, it did. But you're too big a phony to admit it. Oh, baby, 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 it's you, baby, it's you.
Shut up!
X, Y, and Z found Caine as one side of a love triangle that also included Elizabeth Taylor and Susanna York. Despite some good reviews for the acting, the controversial drama failed at the box office.
You come back here! Come back here, you! I haven't dismissed you yet!
Then, in 1972, Michael teamed with Laurence Olivier for the classic mystery Sleuth. Based on the play by Anthony Schaefer, this game of cat and mouse begins when Olivier confronts Caine for sleeping with his wife.
I understand you want to marry my wife.
With your permission, of course.
The house is empty.
Have you ever actually committed a crime before?
This, as they say, is where the plot thickens.
It's a real game and a real murder. There's absolutely no point in playing another pretend game. Isn't that right?
Why don't I just keep tapping you lightly on the head with the poker until the lump comes up?
Can't make a game out of real murder.
We'll see.
Funny, suspenseful, and exquisitely acted, the film kept audiences guessing until the final reel.
You actually put a gun to his head and pulled the trigger. As a game?
You know the answer to that just as well as I do.
We have your note summoning Mr. Tyndall here. Shots were heard.
bullet holes made. Blood is on the banisters and the carpet. His clothes were hidden in your wardrobe and he has disappeared. Who needs a body? You're mad! You're a bloody madman!
Warm reviews led the way to a pair of well-deserved Oscar nominations for the stars.
Should my grip relax on this trigger, it'll detonate enough explosive to rip your guts out.
Caine was once again a grim avenger in 1974's The Black Windmill, a tough drama about a British agent trying to rescue his kidnapped son.
Stop! I can't get over! I can't over!
The talented Don Siegel directed, with Janet Suzman and Donald Pleasance also starring. In 1975, Caine teamed with Sean Connery and director John Huston for the rousing adventure The Man Who Would Be King. The actors played British soldiers in India who run into trouble when the native people believe Connery is a god. Of course, the real problems begin when all their worship goes to Sean's head.
Got the size stuff? There's a bigger one.
Every time, we gotta make a run for it.
Both actors delivered fine performances, with Christopher Plummer doing an excellent job as Rudyard Kipling. The film was based on a short story by the famed author, and no expense was spared to bring the tale to life.
Stay quiet. Right.
In this rare behind-the-scenes footage, the cast and crew are seen hard at work on location.
Closest to camera.
Making this a true family affair, Caine's beautiful wife, Shakira, was also in the cast, playing an exotic native woman.
Aquí tus trailers. Visita mi canal.
Action.
Rifleman! Is this your daughter? There must be something in the picture that I didn't notice.
Peeper was next for Michael, but the Private Eye spoof was not a success.
Nice birdie. Nice doggy.
Caine played a would-be Seamus who finds himself in hot water when he gets involved with a dangerous case, and a dangerous woman played by Natalie Wood. Caine and Sidney Poitier were running for their lives in the Wilby conspiracy.
Either the cuffs come off tonight, or the hands tomorrow.
Set in South Africa, this thriller found the stars in a situation similar to Poitier's earlier classic, The Defiant Ones.
Almighty God! What am I doing here?
I don't know whether to shoot you or call the police.
You'd better shoot me. I'm neutral.
Bound together, the reluctant duo must stay one step ahead of bad guy Nicole Williamson.
Don't play the hero in my life!
In 1943, 4 words almost changed the course of history. The Eagle has landed.
In The Eagle Has Landed, Caine was back in military garb, but this time for the German army.
The time has come, Mr. Devlin, when I no longer control events. They control me.
This clever thriller, based on the novel by Jack Higgins, followed a Nazi plot to kidnap Winston Churchill.
What have we got here?
We have a proposition that involves more money than you could possibly ever have dreamed of.
Oh, I'm quite a dreamer.
How about $10 million?
We are not interested.
$20 million. Come on, fellas, I just doubled my original offer. I'm not fooling around now. And this is going to be absolutely my final offer. $50 million.
50 million.
60 million bucks, Doc! 60 million!
What are you a doctor of?
Money.
How does $1 billion sound, Doctor?
$1 billion. Call me Doc.
1978's Silver Bears was a light-hearted caper about a group of rogues crossing and double-crossing each other in Europe. Sybil Shepherd, Martin Balsam, and Jay Leno were among the oddball supporting cast in this fun but forgettable film. Neil Simon's hilarious California Suite centered around 4 groups of guests staying at the Beverly Hills Hotel. Alan Alda, Jane Fonda, Bill Cosby, Richard Pryor, Walter Matthau, and Elaine May were all part of a wonderful cast.
Channel 2 just picked you as a dark horse. They must have seen the dress.
That's not funny, Sidney.
But Caine and Maggie Smith, as an actress and her husband preparing for the Academy Awards, stole the show. In fact, Maggie, who played a woman nominated for an Oscar, ended up winning the award for Best Supporting Actress in Real Life. Caine next ventured into an unfortunate association with the Master of Disaster, producer Irwin Allen. The Swarm saw the actor fighting killer bees.
We have been invaded by an enemy far more lethal than any human force. The war that I've always talked about has finally started.
For God's sake, Crane, when are we going to stop this massacre?
That porthole's going to go at any moment. Got to find another way out of here. And right now.
The sequel, Beyond the Poseidon Adventure, was an attempt to help the ailing disaster genre resurface. Each movie featured excellent actors who were hopefully well paid for their on-screen embarrassment.
The fire must have been started by the last explosion. More could come any time. I'm telling you, it's a floating time bomb.
Both films failed, but Caine rebounded in 1980 with Brian De Palma's flashy thriller, Dressed to Kill.
Do you find me attractive?
Of course.
Would you want to sleep with me?
Yes.
Then why don't you?
Because I love my wife, and it isn't worth jeopardizing my marriage.
Michael played a psychiatrist whose patient, Angie Dickinson, turns up dead. But is the good doctor a killer or the next victim? Caine then took a trip to The Island, a film based on the novel by Jaws author Peter Benchley.
Who are you? I mean, all of you. Are you some kind of religious cult?
If I'd wanted to hit you, I could have hit you.
How dare you speak to your father like that?
You're not my father.
Stop this make-believe.
Audiences were anxious for more seagoing thrills, but this brutal story about modern-day pirates was a disappointment. Re-teaming with director John Huston, Caine took a starring role in the unique World War II drama, Victory.
In 1942, the Nazis thought they were sitting on top of the world, never suspecting that they could be toppled in one conflict, the most unusual battle of the war.
Michael, alongside Sylvester Stallone and real-life athlete Pele, played a POW forced into a soccer match with the German national team.
A stacked game. The Third Reich's finest against a ragged bunch of prisoners of war. The Germans thought they had it made.
They couldn't run about for 90 minutes. They'd be chucking their guts up.
Along with fine acting from the muscular cast, some exciting sports footage gave this one a real kick. In 1983, Caine would finally get back into the critics' good graces with Educating Rita. The star played a boozy college professor who takes it upon himself to enlighten a student, played by Julie Walters.
You're my tutor.
But I've told you I do not want to do it. Why pick on me?
I like you.
A sweet comedy drama, the film was a critical success, giving Caine his best reviews in years.
Rita, why didn't you walk in here 20 years ago?
I don't think they would have accepted me at the age of 6.
He and Walters received Oscar nominations, and each performer also won a Golden Globe for their fine work. Recharged, Caine took on the starring role in Stanley Donen's Blame It on Rio, a saucy comedy about a man infatuated with a much younger woman.
Uncle Matthew!
Hi.
To complicate things even more, the girl in question is his best friend's daughter. The film was a hit, but the John Frankenheimer action pick, The Holcroft Covenant, was not.
Letter from your father written to you in the last days of the war.
During the death throes of the Third Reich, 3 Nazi generals make a pact. A covenant for their children, and a deadly legacy for the world.
Mr. Holcroft, I'm talking of you having absolute control of $4.5 billion. $4.5 billion?
Based on a best-selling novel by Robert Ludlum, the film was slickly made, but often incoherent. Caine had played better spy games than these before. In 1986, salvation came in the form of Woody Allen, who cast Michael as a lovesick dentist in Hannah and Her Sisters.
Something very lovely and real about Hannah.
She gives me a very deep feeling of being part of something.
Caine is married to saintly Hannah, played by Mia Farrow, but he finds himself falling for her sister, Barbara Hershey.
This has to be done very skillfully and very diplomatically.
Did you ever read this one?
For his deft comic performance, the actor finally took home an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. But Michael was not present at the award ceremony. Instead, he was in the Bahamas filming Jaws: The Revenge. Many thought it was the perfect commentary on Caine's career, a clear picture of both the actor's enormous gifts and his willingness to appear in well-paying junk. The Jaws sequel did poorly at the box office, but the actor did give an acclaimed performance in the 1986 British film Mona Lisa. Bob Hoskins starred as a small-time criminal who falls for prostitute Kathy Tyson and finds himself in a world of trouble. Caine abandoned his typical charm to portray the vicious mob boss after them both.
Get something better.
What you mean, better?
I mean, dirty, nasty, slimy, kicking. Simone, get out!
1986 also found Michael mixing it up with director and star Alan Alda in Sweet Liberty.
What's Elliot James like?
Aristocratic.
Vicious, ruthless beast.
Insatiable lover.
Have them give us adjoining beds.
In this fun farce, the sensitive MASH star was a history professor helping a film crew adapt his scholarly book on the Revolutionary War. Things don't go smoothly, thanks in large part to the movie's arrogant star, played to perfection by Caine. Michelle Pfeiffer made a fetching love interest, with Bob Hoskins and Lillian Gish also among the cast.
We are going to pee in our pants with laughter 3 times before this day is over.
Mrs. Stein is entitled to 1/2 of all Mrs. Stein's current assets.
I've been taken to the cleaners more times than this shirt.
Caine kept audiences laughing in his next screen appearances. He teamed with Sally Field and Steve Guttenberg in Surrender, a breezy comedy that found all 3 stars in fine form.
Got lots of money?
So has every woman who ever slept with me.
In 1988, he and Steve Martin made a perfect match as a pair of dirty, rotten scoundrels. Playing 2 con men trying to outdo each other in the south of France, the stars and the script were hilarious. In 1988, Caine took on the classic character of Sherlock Holmes in Without a Clue.
Moriarty!
Are you sure he's not trying to kill me? Of course not. He knows you're an idiot. Thank God.
Ah!
But the twist in this clever comedy had Ben Kingsley's Dr. Watson as the brains behind the team, with Holmes merely a none too bright actor.
Would you like my autograph?
Staying busy as he grew older, Caine continued to gain acclaim in fine performances for years to come. Whether as a young leading man or a wily character actor, he always injected each role with something special. Even in roles that were beneath his talent, he never gave anything but his best. Hollywood will always remember Michael Caine.